Hello, hello, brothers and sisters. It's a new week. We are very happy to welcome you to our show titled Speak of Africa. We thank you for subscribing to this show. Our numbers are going up, and we're happy with the confidence and trust you've placed in us. This is your show. So what are we doing today? We're speaking of Africa. We're speaking of African problems. That's what this show is about. For the show of today, we're going to focus attention on what some people describe as illegal immigration. A lot of Europeans love coming to Africa. They loot Africa, steal our resources, but they do not want Africans to come to their countries. So isn't this funny? You want to come to my house, but when I want to come to your house, you say, no, don't come to my house. I'm the only one who can come to your house, and I have to take what you have. Is that fair? That's the predicament of Africa today. The Europeans, the Americans will come to Africa. They will take what Africa has. Africa will provide them hospitality, but they will not respond to this kindness. Rather, they will loot what Africa has. Then when Africa wants to come to America, to Europe, they say, oh no, don't come to our countries. This is not nice. That's what we're going to talk about today. Okay? Illegal immigration. For this show of today, we're going to talk about the bill, the Save Rwanda bill. The British Parliament has just passed legislation to make it legal for the British government to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. This deal has been going on for a while now, and we've been talking to you about it. We do not like it. A lot of human rights groups do not like it. They describe it as illegal and a form of racism. Yet, Britain being a racist country, they went ahead and passed the legislation. When you go to most countries in Africa, this is not the first time Britain has transferred their people to other countries. Look at Australia, for example. At one point, Australia was a dumping ground for British ex-convicts. Whenever you were a criminal, when it was time for you to get out of jail, instead of releasing you within the British population, they sent you to Australia. And that's how Australia became a country. First you had the Australian Aborigines, then you had the British population. And this fact became apparent to me, especially when I studied Charles Dickens' novel titled Great Expectations. Macwish, the main character, was an ex-convict, okay, who had escaped, then made his way back. So that's what Britain does. Then the new British Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. This is a guy of Indian descent, but he has come now with this program. He says it's a way to serve as a deterrent. Keep these foreigners at bay. Stow away people. They should not come to Britain. They should not cross from France to Britain through those boats. Stop the boats, which is the slogan. Stop the boats. Well, this is bringing a lot of attention. Then when you look at Rwanda, Rwanda is saying that they have these hope hostels. That's what they call the new habitat, where they will be housing Africans who have been deported from Britain. So instead of allowing these asylum seekers to process their asylum applications in Britain, Britain will send them, expel them to Rwanda. They will settle in Rwanda. If they choose, they can go back to their home country. Isn't this inhumane? It is. And that's why we're bringing this problem to our viewers. It is very inhumane. We don't know why Rwanda is even involved in such a devilish scheme. Rwanda should know that most of the people who are victims of this British scheme are Africans. Africans are running away from a lot of countries. When we show you the news week, the news cycle, there are problems in a lot of African countries. The problems become insurmountable, and most of the Africans want to run away from their countries. We've even used the word japa, the Yoruba word japa, for escape. We've used it on this show many times to tell you about the flight of Africans. A lot of the elite, they are running away from Africa in search of greener pastures in the Americas, in Canada, and in Europe. Okay? We've talked about it. So Paul Kagame should not say they should support the implementation of the program. Good Africans are not going to support the implementation of this scheme. It is a racist scheme, and it is a dragnet intended to harm Africans. We know most of the victims are Africans. You look at even the news of today. Some of the Africans from Mali, Mauritania were trapped. Some people are also taken to court because of the maltreatment of African migrants. Okay? So this is a serious problem. Africans are unhappy where they are. Even when you look at Ambazonia, where we're going to begin our show of today, the people are not happy. They are facing discrimination, marginalization from the colonial government of Paul Biya, La République du Cameroon. They even decided to go to war because they were tired of Biya's B, Bataillon d'Intervention Rapide. Those thugs have been killing them. Even as we talk to you, the problem in Ambazonia remains. Biya is now a wasted kind of guy. He doesn't have his senses anymore. But he has created a system which lives on. They're the ones implementing his diabolic policies. He doesn't have his senses anymore, but he has people, especially the wife, who is a femme fatale, Chantal, who is implementing and overseeing the evil that is going on in the Republic of Cameroon. And when you look at it, today some of you sent us news showing that a book claimed to have been written by Paul Biya, which is probably ghost-written, we think, by Senghor Francois, who used to be part of the Ojong regime. Communal Liberalism, that's the title of the book. Pour le libéralisme communautaire. C'est le titre de ce livre en français. So in English, this is the book, and we hear that Biya wants to republish this book. What's the purpose? The book is nonsense. Biya is not the author of this book. He did not write it. Senghor Francois wrote the book for him. He just put his name on it. But even when you look at the book doesn't espouse any serious thinking. What's the philosophy? Communal liberalism. What does that mean? For a government that is a dictatorship, where is the liberalism? The people of Cameroon were thinking Paul Biya is bringing them a new deal. But where is the New Deal government? Instead, they found valuta, a lack of value, crime, corruption. Even as I was coming to the studio to tape the show of today, some of you guys sent us a story in Cameroon where a commandant de brigade has seized a truck with a lot of merchandise. He has seized this truck for more than 4 days because the drivers refused to pay a lot of money for bribes. So that's the government of Paul Biya. It's a government of thieves. You don't get what you want. Then how can the country progress? That's the problem we face in La République du Cameroon. Okay? Even Martinez Zogo saga. You guys have been sending me stories about it every day. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But the same people who killed Martinez Zogo are saying, we've killed a lot of other people. You did not make noise about it. How come you're making noise now about Martinez Zogo? What's wrong with you? You've been telling us to kill people, and we've been doing your bidding. We've been killing them. Why are you worried that we've killed Martinez Zogo? What's the difference? To us, as murderers, Martinez Zogo is just the same like the other people we kill for you. Okay? We killed in the name of Paul Biya. We killed in the name of Chantal Biya. So what's the difference if we kill Martinez Zogo and all these other guys? So stop worrying about it. We know the more people talk about Martinez Zogo, they expose you, but just know that you are the one who told us to do the killing, okay? So that's much we can give you about La République du Cameroon. Next, we take you to Benin. Benin is also a place where we've been registering records of protests. The people are protesting the rise in the cost of living. They are not happy. This is also a colonial regime. It's a colonial regime where France is the dominant player. But the way we see it, the wind that is blowing in the Sahel is going to blow in Benin. We told you this before it happened in Senegal. Now we're telling you about Benin. Benin is going to be a hot spot, okay? Then now we'll take you to Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré is the poster boy. He looks at himself and presents himself as the next Thomas Sankara. But was Sankara killing a lot of civilians? No. Today, Ibrahim Traoré has expelled 2 news organs, Voice of America and the BBC. This organization has publicized reports of human rights organizations showing that the junta of Ibrahim Traoré has been sending his military guys to Sono and another village, Nindra, in the north of the country. They went to those 2 villages and killed over 200 civilians. They accused these civilians of collaborating with jihadists. There's no proof, but they summarily killed these civilians. When the news organizations discovered these killings, they decided to publicize this news. Ibrahim Traoré is not happy. He's feeling terrible because he has been exposed. But how long is he going to continue killing citizens summarily in cold blood? He hires these military guys to kill these citizens. Is this a good thing? We don't think so. And we think it needs to stop, which is why we're drawing your attention to the killings in Burkina Faso. These killings need to stop, okay? They need to stop, okay? We know you love the rhetoric. When Ibrahim Traoré comes on the air talking about Russia being the new paymaster supporting Burkina Faso, it sounds good. But imagine if the people who are dying belong to your family. Are you going to be happy? That's the question we're asking on this show. Because we had suggested that Ibrahim Traoré needs to look at other ways of solving this problem of jihadist activity in the Sahel. Militarization cannot succeed. So far, we think Ibrahim Traoré is relying only on the military option. He should look at other options. We said this many times on this show. He's going to fail. Then now the people are becoming unhappy with his politics. So what is he going to do? He's going to be killing more of them. Now he's silencing a lot of his critics. What is Russia doing? Russia is giving him weapons. But are these weapons going to be enough to stem the tide of jihadist activity? No. So whatever Ibrahim Traoré is doing now is going to fail. So we think he needs to sit down and come up with a more pragmatic approach to solving the problem of jihadists in his country. We've said this many times. We've said this about Nigeria. We've said this about Mali. We've said it about other African countries. You cannot use the military to solve a problem like this. Even Israel, with the military might it has, they get a lot of weapons from the United States. They are realizing now that they cannot eliminate Hamas. Initially, they thought they could launch a war in Gaza and they would eliminate Hamas in a few days. Now, their US masters have realized that that objective cannot be achieved. It's not realistic. Okay? Next, we'll take you to Chad.
Tired of waiting in long lines at the emergency room or your doctor's office? You should be. Why wait in long lines for care? It's time for you to come to Lucille Urgent Care. Real care, no waiting. Lucille Urgent Care, the best place for true and loving care. Service at Lucille Urgent Care is convenient, fast, time efficient, affordable, accessible, transparent, and cost effective. Real treatment is your right. Indeed, it's not just a privilege or pejorative. Skip the emergency room's long lines, kiss the ER goodbye, say farewell to your old doctor's office, pay less, save time, enjoy the excitement of convenience, receive immediate treatment, get the healthcare you need quickly and affordably. Lucille Urgent Care offers many express services: rapid COVID-19 testing, on-site prescription, preventative lab services, imaging and x-rays, urgent medical treatment for common illnesses and injuries, routine vaccines and flu shots, work-related injury services, pre-employment, occupational, annual, and sports physicals, immigration exams, and much more. Same-day treatment, rapid lab results, extended hours, weekend hours, no appointment necessary, no insurance necessary, no doctor necessary, walk-ins accepted, telemedicine available. We are open 7 days a week with evening and weekend hours. We are located in Maryland. Lucille Urgent Care, 903 Half York Road, Towson, Maryland, 21204. Website, lucilleuc.com. Call at 443-275-1286 or 301-593-4897.
In Chad, you have Mahamat Déby Itno, the son of the late dictator. What is happening? He too is telling the Americans that he wants to pivot to Russia. Before, the United States was helping Chad in the war on terror. But now, it seems Chad is trying to make new friends with Russia. Is Russia going to be able to help him? We don't think so. Most of these leaders think that Russia doesn't ask questions. Russia doesn't care about Africans dying. As a result, they're pivoting to Russia away from America. So America needs to start rethinking its Africa strategy, because America is losing a lot of ground in Africa. We don't know whether American diplomats are understanding what is wrong, but we are drawing attention to this problem. Russia is gaining ground, China is gaining ground, America and her colonial allies are losing. So they need to rethink the way they engage most of the countries in Africa. The whole concept of the colonial state, the nation state, has failed. So we need to rethink the way we engage with Africa for our own betterment. Then what about DRC Congo? Well, the story we saw in DRC Congo has to do with Apple. Apple makes a lot of money, but Apple is making this money off bloody minerals, bloody diamonds, bloody cobalt. We have a guy holding a piece of cobalt. This is what Apple uses in their iPhones. But this is blood money because Apple is making this money on the backs of a lot of Africans dying in Congo DRC. So this is blood money. And some of you brought this to my attention, and I'm sharing this with the world community. Apple is on the map. We're holding Apple accountable. A lot of these people are dying because Apple wants to enjoy the products that come out of this cobalt and other minerals from Congo DRC. So it is bloody diamonds, bloody minerals. Okay? We have a nice story. We'll take you now to Ghana. In Ghana, we have to talk about our hero, Kwame Nkrumah, again. Some people in Ghana are remembering the good old days of Kwame Nkrumah, the visionary, the guy who wanted to unite Africa into one country. It was a good vision, a vision deferred, but we still think it is achievable. If Africa were one country, these big powers will not be manipulating Africans the way they are doing it today. Most of the small countries don't really have the power to negotiate with big powers such as the United States of America, China, Russia, and France. But if we have one country, one continent, it will be a lot easier to negotiate from a position of strength with these powers. But today, because we are weak, we have a lot of small countries, we cannot negotiate well. And that's why we are suffering in Africa. So the vision of one Africa should remain. One Africa, united Africa. That's what we want. Kwame Nkrumah brought this vision. Patrice Lumumba wanted this vision. But what happened? The colonial guys killed them and got rid of them. And today, who is suffering? The people of Africa are suffering. So we want the youth of today to remember Patrice Lumumba. We want the youth of today to remember Kwame Nkrumah. At least read some of his books. You'll be aware of what he stood for. You know why the Western world killed him. Okay? So we encourage you to read the books of Kwame Nkrumah. Okay? Next, we'll take you to Nigeria.
$25,000 to $250,000 per year made easy. Do you dream about making big money? Well, we all do. Imagine joining pharmacy professionals to earn good money. Statistics show that the big pharma industry rules and controls America like a colossus. Do you want to find more details about the hidden gem? Join the Pharmacy Success crew now. Become a pharmacy professional today. Let us train you as pharmacy techs, foreign pharmacy graduates, USA pharmacy students. Learn to earn. We offer affordable online and offline programs. Act now. Browse our website for details, pharmacyprof.com, or call 301-760-0335.
In Nigeria, we have a whole lot of stories, okay? Nigeria is the GoDaddy of Africa. Today, Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, is in Saudi Arabia. But before then, he stopped in Holland. We hear he had a lot of airplane mishaps. So he had to charter a commercial flight. Okay, enough for the fiasco. But a lot is going on in Nigeria. We hear some of the guys fighting jihadis hit a landmine that exploded and they suffered a lot of damages. Then, of course, there was also a prison break. When this happened, over 100 inmates escaped. We hear it was raining, so they took advantage of this rain and just escaped into the forest. Now the military guys are looking for the inmates. Will they find them? Well, this is also going to result in a lot more insecurity for Nigeria. But we have to watch and see. We've talked a lot about Rwanda and the boats. Paul Kagame, why are you looking for money from Britain? We're not going to talk about you again. In Senegal, it looks like Bassirou Faye is engaging the European Union. Does he want a rupture? Next week, we're going to give you more details on what is happening between Bassirou Faye and the European Union. He wants to renegotiate a lot of those contracts. The European Union wants to come to Senegal and get all the resources. Yet, they don't want Senegalese to take their boats and bring Senegalese to Europe. You see how unfair these Europeans are? Italy, Britain, France, all these countries, even the USA, they don't want Africans. But they want to come to Africa and take advantage of Africa's resources. Isn't this fair? That's why we're having problems. And we take you now to South Africa. April 28, 2024. This marks the 30th anniversary of freedom. So we are celebrating Freedom Day in South Africa. As we celebrate Freedom Day in South Africa, we should remember that there's really no freedom. Okay? Nelson Mandela was euphoric in bringing the end of apartheid. But along this negotiation, we think what was not understood was the fact that political freedom is not the same as economic freedom. South Africans got political freedom, but where is the economic freedom? Over 95% of the wealth of South Africa remains in white hands, just a few whites. The blacks are not really benefiting because the money is all in the hands of whites. So South Africa needs to rethink a new form of income redistribution. I'm not a communist, but I think in South Africa, in order to move the country forward, some of the wealth that is in white hands, it needs to be taken away from the white people and given to black people. That's what needs to happen. If that doesn't happen, there will be poverty and corruption in South Africa, and the youth would be protesting and fighting. Already, there's election on May 29th in South Africa. The new generation of South Africans, the Generation Z. They don't want to hear about apartheid. They don't want to hear about Nelson Mandela. They want to hear about jobs and opportunities and an end to corruption. That's why they are supporting Julius Malema, the president of the Economic Freedom Fighters Party. The ANC has lost ground. We hear they may just have less than 40% support. So what this means is, on May 29th, the ANC may not really win the election. As a result, they may have to work with other parties in order to rule South Africa. As a party, the ANC is losing ground seriously. All of them know it. Cyril Ramaphosa knows it. Even Thabo Mbeki knows it. So they have been talking about the problem of corruption. Okay? Corruption is the thing, but corruption is not the only problem. A bigger problem is wealth redistribution. It needs to take place. Land redistribution needs to take place in South Africa. Okay? I'm hitting on the key points. Land redistribution. Wealth redistribution. So some of the wealth needs to be taken away from white hands into black hands. That's what needs to happen. And it needs to happen quickly. So the politicians need to figure out a better way to do this. I'm not imposing any views. But if the South African government asks me how it should be done, I'll come up with a good economic plan. I'm not suggesting communism, but I'm looking for an equitable way to take some of this wealth and put it back in black hands. Because South Africa is a black country. South Africa is not a European country. So the money in South Africa should go to black people, not white people. Okay? So there should be some form of divestment. Move this money away from white hands into black hands. There will be less crime, and the economy will prosper. So let's sit and look for an equitable way of redistributing this wealth. If we can do this, South Africa will move forward. They will have more services. And finally, we take you to Togo. The Yadema family wants to stay in power forever in Togo. It's very sad. They have created a constitutional coup where Faure Gnassingbé wants to be president for life. The people are crying, so there's a lot of opposition, but Faure Gnassingbé controls the army, so he would stay in power for a long time. And this is a tragedy of Africa. Yet, I believe in Africa, and I have hope for Africa. Bye-bye.
Do you need tax preparation services? We can help. Contact PJ Tax Service, America's only full-time income tax preparers. Like the good old doctor, we do not close our doors after April 15th. In fact, we stay open all year round in order to serve you. We are located at 11207A, Lockwood Drive, Silver Spring, Maryland, 20901. Make an appointment today with Prince Ojong, your tax expert. Call 240-350-1131 or visit us on the web at www.pjtaxservice.com.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.